And if everything you believe about reality is merely the surface of something much deeper, a carefully constructed illusion to conceal a power that has always been rightfully yours, there is a name whispered within the walls of the ancient mystery schools, a name that has spanned the millennia like an invisible thread, connecting seekers of truth, not just an Egyptian god, but an eternal consciousness, a being unborn, manifested, an architect of the universe, guardian of the most dangerous and at the same time most liberating secrets humanity has ever known. Thoth was not worshipped by the masses, but revered by the initiated. He didn't offer easy miracles, but raw wisdom, the kind of knowledge that transforms, that disturbs, that tears away the veil of ignorance. The ancients said he not only understood time, but could bend it, that his writings not only spoke of the soul, but revealed how to transcend death itself. And that is precisely why his true story has been distorted, hidden, and discredited. Because those who awaken do not obey. Those who understand reality do not accept living as slaves within it. But who was taught truly? How did his teachings influence esoteric traditions, occult religions, alchemy, astrology, and even quantum physics? Why did so many mystics, philosophers, and scientists desperately try to understand or conceal his messages? And most importantly, because now, at this very moment in history, these truths are beginning to emerge again. This journey goes far beyond mythology. It touches the core of your existence, revealing why you feel there's something wrong with the world and the explanations you've been given about it. Prepare to rediscover the origin of consciousness, understand the vibrational secrets of the universe, and perhaps find answers you never knew you were seeking, because after this, nothing will be the same again. But here's where things get even stranger. If Thoth truly existed, if his emerald tablets contain the laws that underpin the cosmos, why was he silenced? Are you ready to discover what they've hidden from you for millennia? In the Egyptian pantheon, filled with gods linked to fertility, war, or the judgment of the dead, there was one entity who didn't fit into any of these categories, because he didn't just represent aspects of existence. He was the very structure that sustained all that exists. Thoth, or Jehut, was not just a god, he was a phenomenon, a conscious code that, according to the ancients, participated in the very architecture of the universe. Thoth was the scribe of the gods. Yes, but his writing was not merely symbolic. His words were performative, shaping reality. Just as modern physicists assert that the observer alters the experiment, Thoth understood that language, vibration, and thought were instruments of creation. He didn't write about the universe, he wrote the universe. And his pen was made of consciousness, represented by the head of an ibis, a bird associated with keen observation and discernment. He symbolized one who sees beyond the surface. He could also be a baboon, a lunar creature that observes the hidden cycles of existence. But these symbols were merely doors. The true Thoth was invisible, immeasurable, and timeless. He was the cosmic mind operating behind matter. His domain ranged from mathematics to magic, from astronomy to alchemy. He was the point of convergence between science and spirituality. Long before these words existed, he is said to have created the alphabet, hieroglyphic writing, and sacred numbers. But more than that, he created the invisible structures that sustain logic, time, memory, and karma. He was known for weighing the hearts of the dead, but in reality, he weighed the inner truth of each soul, the frequency it carried. Nothing escaped his perception, for he was the observing consciousness itself. The Egyptian mystery schools knew this. Thoth was the patron saint of initiates, the silent master who guided seekers along the path to enlightenment. He was not prayed to. He was studied, meditated, and practiced with, and only those who could purify their thoughts and raise their vibration had access to true knowledge. He was not a god for everyone. He was an enigma encoded in time, waiting for ready minds. But Thoth wasn't just a part of Egypt. He resurfaced in other cultures, under different names. The Greeks called him Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice great, and attributed to him the Hermetic texts. the basis of the entire Western esoteric tradition. In even more ancient times, some believe he was Enoch, the biblical patriarch who ascended to heaven without dying, and there are those who claim that he still walks among us, incarnated in great masters, teaching the same principles disguised as new ideas. Why do so many cultures resonate with his presence? Why does his figure transcend eras, religions, and mythologies? The answer may lie in the fact that thought was never an individual, but a field of consciousness, an archetype, a system of knowledge that manifests where there is a thirst for truth, where there is courage to see beyond the veil. And if this archetype is now emerging with renewed strength, it is no coincidence. We live in an age of collapse and revelation, where the ancient is being rediscovered by those who sense something beyond the surface. Thoth's wisdom returns because it is necessary, because perhaps once again, humanity faces the chance to awaken. Now let's explore this further. What if the keys to this ancient wisdom are hidden in real objects, in texts that have survived the test of time? Would you be ready to face what they contain? There are ancient texts so shrouded in mystery that their mere mention causes discomfort in powerful circles. None of them, however, are as shrouded in legend, fascination, and awe as the Emerald Tablets. They are said to have been written by Thoth himself, not with ink, but with intention, not on paper, but on an unknown indestructible substance, something that not even time has dared to corrupt. They are not just records. They are codes, vibrational maps of a knowledge that challenges everything we think we know about life, death, and reality itself. These tablets are not lost. They are hidden, and according to the ancients, can only be read by those whose hearts vibrate at the right frequency. For within them lies the secret that can free the soul or destroy it. The sages said that reading them could lead to enlightenment or madness, depending on the state of consciousness of the person accessing them. These are no ordinary scriptures, they are portals. But what exactly is written on them? The tablets speak of the origin of the universe, the multidimensional nature of the soul, the invisible laws governing time, and the process of spiritual ascension. And among all the hidden teachings, there is one that stands out, the principle of as above, so below, as within, so without. This isn't a spiritual metaphor. It's a cosmic equation, a code of reality. According to Thoth, everything outside of you is a reflection of what vibrates within. The universe isn't external, it's interactive. The tablets also reveal that time as we know it is an illusion. Past, present, and future coexist on different planes, and the soul can navigate between them. They describe the journey of consciousness after death, the dimensions of the afterlife, and a mythical place called the Halls of Aenti, a realm between worlds where ascended masters await humanity's awakening. This vision is strikingly aligned with modern discoveries in quantum physics, which is beginning to understand that time is relative. That observation alters matter, and that consciousness may be a fundamental force in the universe. How could a millennia-old text contain principles that we're only now beginning to prove with technology? But here comes the most disturbing element of all. The tablets were never truly lost. Some say they were kept secret, protected, or manipulated by hidden orders, secret societies, and elites who understood their power but chose to use it for control. Fragments of them have appeared disguised in alchemical traditions, occult doctrines, and even codified philosophical works. What would happen if this knowledge were widely revealed? If everyone knew that the universe responds to the mind, that death is merely a transition, and that our limits are imposed programming. The fear of those in control has always been the awakening of those who sleep. That's why, throughout history, the bearers of this knowledge have been persecuted, labeled heretics, occultists, and lunatics. But what if these tablets don't just describe reality, but also how to shape it? What if thought left in them not a record, but a manual, a practical guide for the transmutation of the soul, for mastering vibration, for breaking the matrix that imprisons us, the kind of wisdom that isn't taught in universities, but that resonates deeply with those who sense that reality is more malleable than it appears. But there is a twist. What if Are the tablets still among us, hidden in plain sight, encoded in symbols, waiting for the right moment to be understood? Could these teachings unlock insights into our minds? Imagine that everything you understand as past, present and future is happening right now. That time, this straight line we learn to live in, is merely a limited perception of the human mind. Thoth not only understood this, he mastered it. For him, time was a circle, an ocean where the spirit could sail freely. And if this idea seems absurd to you, perhaps it's because we've been taught to ignore the deeper nature of consciousness. Thoth didn't see the mind as a byproduct of the brain, but as the origin of everything, an eternal, non-local consciousness that shapes reality itself. He taught that the universe is mental, that everything that exists is a reflection of consciousness, vibrating at different levels of density. And this, surprisingly, is in perfect harmony with emerging theories of quantum physics, which suggest that consciousness may be the basis of the unified field that connects all existence. But Thoth went further. He asserted that thought is a creative force, that every idea, emotion, and belief generates vibrational patterns that shape the world around us. When you feel fear, that frequency alters your reality. When you emanate trust, the universe responds. You're not just reacting to life, you're creating it second by second, thought by thought. This understanding wasn't symbolic, it was practical. Mystery schools taught breathing, visualization, and energy manipulation techniques based on this principle. They knew that whoever masters the mind masters destiny, and that's why ancient civilizations built temples aligned with the stars, practiced lunar rituals, and encoded sacred geometry into their works, because everything is interconnected, and consciousness is the bridge. At the heart of this teaching is a powerful revelation. Time can not only be manipulated, it can be transcended. Thoth spoke of the halls of Enki, a space outside of time, where initiates could access past and future lives, parallel realities, and universal information. Today, many would call these the Akaios records, a vibrational field containing the memory of everything that has ever happened and will ever happen. And here comes one of the most challenging aspects of his wisdom. Death is an illusion. For Thoth, consciousness doesn't die, it merely changes form. And those who learn to tune their vibration can move between worlds, reincarnating with full control over their memories, missions, and abilities. He spoke of masters who don't die, but choose when to leave their bodies and how to return. A concept that resonates with Tibetan, Indian, and Gnostic contradictions. Have you ever felt like time is speeding up? That certain moments last forever and others evaporate in the blink of an eye? This is no coincidence. It's consciousness trying to show you that time is elastic, subjective, and above all, malleable. And the more you align with your higher self, the more you realize that the clock doesn't define your reality. Your Thoth mind understood this not just as philosophy, but as spiritual science. He taught that the universe responds to the observer, that matter bends to intention, that by altering your frequency, you alter your destiny. And this changes everything. Because if your reality is a result of your internal state, then the true revolution happens not outside, but within. But now comes the burning question. If we are co-creators of reality, why do we still live as its victims? Are you ready to face the ultimate truth? If everything you've heard so far resonated with you, even without ever reading it in a book, then perhaps you're awakening. And this isn't a spiritual metaphor. It's a real, profound, and often uncomfortable process. Because awakening isn't just about acquiring knowledge. It's about destroying the internal structures that were shaped to keep you asleep. Thoth knew this. He didn't leave his messages recorded to be admired, but to be lived. His legacy isn't an esoteric relic. It's a roadmap to liberation, a key to escaping the cycle of fear, ignorance, and submission. But like any key, it only works for those willing to open the door. Thoth's true teaching is that you are never a victim of your circumstances, but rather their creator. That the world you live in is merely a reflection of what you believe to be true. And that all your suffering, all your limitations and fears, are not divine punishments, but vibrational projections sustained by carefully crafted conditioning. But here's the tricky part. This system requires you to remain unconscious. It requires you to disbelieve in your own power. Because an awakened mind cannot be manipulated, a heightened consciousness cannot be enslaved. A being who understands that reality is shaped by vibration can no longer be trapped in narratives of scarcity, guilt, or resignation. That's why Thoth and so many other masters were silenced, ridiculed, and hidden, because knowledge liberates, but applied knowledge transforms. He knew that awakening isn't something that happens all at once. It's a journey that requires courage, discipline, and renunciation. It's looking within and facing one's own abysses. It's letting go of comforting lies to embrace truths that demand responsibility. And once this process begins, it can no longer be stopped. You begin to notice the patterns, to see how your beliefs shape your experiences, to understand how fear is programmed to keep you small, to notice how society is designed to keep your mind occupied, your energy scattered, and your soul numb. But Thoth also left clues to the path back, techniques, symbols, vibrational principles, a veritable map for reconnecting with the higher self. He taught that by raising your frequency, you not only heal your body and mind, you reconnect with the source, with the universal intelligence that sustains everything. That's why this legacy lives on, because it vibrates in those who choose to remember, who feel they are more than flesh and blood, who know they came into the world for something greater than survival, who carry within themselves a sacred restlessness, the call of the soul. Have you ever felt this? That feeling that there's something wrong with the world, and the explanations you've been given about it, that intuition that time is running out, that something inside you needs to awaken before it's too late. Then listen carefully, because awakening isn't a destination, it's a choice, and that choice begins now. What will you do with everything you've heard here? If you've made it this far, something inside you is stirring. Perhaps it's an old memory awakening. Perhaps it's your spirit recognizing truths that have always been hidden between the lines of reality. Whatever it is, you're no longer in the same place you were before. Thoth isn't just a mythological figure. He's a mirror, a reflection of your own potential, your own dormant power. And now, with everything you've discovered, the choice is in your hands. Carry on as before or walk as if you knew. What if I told you there's a way to access this power, not as a distant idea, but as a real, guided, and transformative practice? With the transformative success of the ebook, The Art of Positive Thinking, it's time to elevate it, your mind to a new level. So if you truly want to change the course of your life, I invite you to check out the playbook, The Power of the Higher Mind. With it, you'll learn techniques that the church and secret societies have hidden for centuries. What would you do if you could control your destiny? Plus, you'll receive a secret audio on activating your third eye and a practical guide to divine manifestation, completely free. Click the first pinned link and take the first step toward creating the reality of your dreams. See you on the other side. I remember when I first read about the Emerald Tablets. I was silent, alone, and a phrase struck me like a lightning bolt. Man, you are light. At that moment, I didn't understand it with my mind, but my whole body reacted. It was as if a forgotten truth was trying to remind me of something that had always been mine. Since then, nothing has been the same. I began to question everything, to notice invisible patterns, to feel life vibrating differently. It was difficult, very difficult, but it was real. And it is this reality that may be beginning to unfold before you now. And if you enjoyed this journey, you already know, right? Leave a like. Comment with that "I understand," that only the initiated will understand. And subscribe to the channel. We promise not to invoke any strange entities, just ancient wisdom and a few gentle shocks of conscience every now and then. And activate the bell, because YouTube sometimes likes to hide some truths too. Now look at me. There are 2 videos on the screen calling to you. They're not there by chance. One of them may contain a revelation you're not yet ready to hear, but that will change everything when you are. The other, well, Let's just say it may touch on a point you've avoided facing for too long. Click and find out, but go slowly and with courage. The wisdom of Thoth has returned, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be the one to carry it forward.